Hey all you YouTubers out there, Steve Jackson again from callapainter.com, and here we are on site on a house. Going to take a look at. I'm going to walk you around, show you everything that needs to be done, show you the damage on the house so you can get an idea how we inspect a house and what we're going to do to fix it. This house here is about 20 some years old. It was painted 9 years ago with Sherwin-Williams woodscapes, and it's time to paint it again. So let's take a look at some of the problems, and I'll talk about how we're going to repair it and get it ready for painting. Let's go up the ladder. Okay, as you can see up here, we got some cracks. See that? See how the wood is warped and kind of bent a little bit? It's starting to dry out. This cedar wasn't properly nailed. That's part of the reason why it's curving. It's also starting to fade from the sun. This is the south side of the house, and it gets a lot of sunlight because you can see under here it's dark, where you can see over here it's lighter. Okay, take a look at this over here, little triangle that's starting to come apart. That needs to be replaced, but the customer said just caulk it. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, take you around, show you some more damage here. We got siding damage here in the front. See how the siding's starting to crack and dry out? We're going to fill that in with an elastomeric caulk because the customer doesn't want to replace it. But as you can see, the boards are starting to slightly cup a little bit. That's because the siding is drying out and getting old. Here's some more damage here on another triangle. You can see how those are coming apart at the corner. Okay, now here's an area of the house. We're going to redo this whole thing up here. I'm going to take all this siding off. I'm going to replace it all the way up to the top. All brand new siding. That's going to be redone. This down here is going to stay the same. Okay, let's walk our way around further. Now, before we paint this house, we're going to power wash it. We're going to caulk it. We're going to re-nail all the loose nails. You see how the beams are starting to crack even. Everything's getting dried out. The paint's starting to come off. Okay, let's go over here and take a look. See the siding up here? Paint's starting to come off a little bit. So once we power wash it, that's going to remove some of the loose material. I use a mildewcide bleach combination that kills all the algae and prepares the paint so that when we're finished, you're going to get a paint job that's going to last 8 years. You can see cracks in the shutters. Those shutters are all going to be taken off and redone. We're going to repaint all those with the Sherwin-Williams woodscapes. You can see wood here on the corner of the house. Paint's starting to come off all that. Nails are starting to come out, and that's because the paint is drying out. Major cracks in the siding over here. And today's April 24th. So this is a good time right now to get started because it's still cool outside. Got cracks in our siding here. We got a separation that's going to need new caulking. Any place on the house where the caulking is starting to crack and come loose, we cut that out with a Stanley knife and we replace it. Areas like this here, we cut that caulk out and we replace it. Because if you just caulk right over the top of it, like you can see this right here, a lot of guys will come in and they'll just caulk over this stuff. See how easy that comes out? Okay, we got to get rid of that. Okay, so that's going to all be redone. Now take a look at this underneath. See how the siding is starting to cup? Okay, I can't really push it, but it's coming loose. It's about 1/4 of an inch separation, so we're going to nail that back down. See, the siding nails that they used on here were probably your standard ring shank thin siding nails. They don't hold good enough. I use May's number 10D spiral cut nails. Once those things go in, they don't ever come out again. Let's see if we can get a shot from the side here. See how the siding's cupped? Starting to curve out. It's because it's getting old. This will probably be the last paint job that's done on this house. You got nails that are coming out everywhere. You got fading and cracking. You see up there at the window? Let's see. See how the siding's starting to separate from the window and come out? Peeling up there. nails pulling out up there. Okay, so that's the basic condition of the entire house all the way around. Now we're going around to the back side of the house. Here's the deck. We're going to power wash this deck, clean it all off, and then we're going to stain it with Cabot oil stain, semi-transparent. I like to use Cabot because it lasts a long time. It's a good product. And semi-transparent oil stain will last a lot longer. A lot of people put solid color stain on their decks. Friend, let me tell you something right now. Don't ever use solid color stain on your deck unless you've already done it before, because the fact of the matter is it's only going to last about 2 years maybe, and it's going to start to peel again, and it could turn into a big mess. Personally, myself, I don't recommend putting anything on a deck other than a clear sealer or a thin semi-transparent that's going to soak into the material, because sooner or later down the road you're going to have a major problem. A lot of my customers like to talk them into, taking off the deck boards and replacing the deck boards with composite. That way you don't ever have to paint again. The railings, the deck railings, those will hold the stain for quite some time. But it's the deck boards on the deck. Those are the ones where you're going to have the problem, and that's because the water sits on the deck. Okay, so let's walk around the back side of the house here. Gee, I wish I had time to go on the trampoline, but we got to get some work done. Okay, now you can see up here on the back side of the house, see how dark the stain is still? This is the north side of the house, which is also a side that's going to get a lot of algae and mildew on it. So we're going to power wash and clean all this off with the bleach. That'll take care of the mildew. But you can see that the stain underneath the soffits up here is still the original color that it was 8 years ago when we put it on, and that's because it's not getting any sunlight on it. And you can also see that the siding is in a lot better condition. There's hardly any cracks in the siding. There's a few little loose nails here and there, a few pops. Up here we got a couple of woodpecker holes. We're going to sand those with a rotary sander so you can't see that, and then stain over the top of that again. But take a look at some of the siding down here that doesn't get any sunlight. Look at that. It still almost looks like it was just stained. Even the shutters are in good condition. So you can see that the sun is the worst enemy of a house ever. And every house on the sunny side is where you're going to have the most problems. Okay, so we don't have a lot of caulking or repair work to do around here. It's actually in pretty good condition. Let's go over here and take a look at our door. Okay, you can see at one time there was a water leak here. They replaced that, but it's still leaking. I think probably the caulk on top of the door frame is damaged. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to replace all the casing around this door. That way you'll have all brand new casing and caulk it properly, and it should be good for another 20 years. Okay, so that's really about it. We got good conditions here. The other thing we might want to look at is bottom garage door down here. This is a place where usually there's a lot of damage from snow, from ice, and salt. I don't know why this is deteriorating like this down here that it is, but you could see that the wood is getting really rough. It must have a water leak or something. Seal strips on the garage door aren't very good either. And I'm going to recommend to the customer that he replaces those. Okay, same thing over here, not quite as bad. And this side, really not that bad either. It's just that one corner. Everything else is pretty good around here. Okay, so now that we've gone around and surveyed the entire house, and you can also see we got a problem here with the shutter. Okay, shutter's coming loose. The fasteners behind there, anchors, failed. So I'm going to drill some new holes and put some new anchors in. So that's it, friend. This is 6802 Applewood Lane in Spring Grove, Illinois. And we're about to do a major rehab on this house. And when it's all finished, I'll do another video and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Here's some other siding. Customer didn't want to replace this piece of siding, so I'm just going to glue that and nail that and fix that. Okay, and then you can see up here, up above the roof, that's a major place where you get a lot of damage on siding. It's starting to curl, it's starting to crack, and that's because the heat from the shingles in the summertime, it probably gets 140, 150 degrees up there in the summertime. And that is the worst enemy of cedar siding. Okay, So with that all said and done, I think it's time to get to work. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for a beautiful painting job by callapainter.com.